I've honed an approach to teaching that takes students seriously as sources of embodied knowledge. From this perspective, my job is to nurture a classroom environment where students feel comfortable learning from each other. Under such conditions, learning becomes less about demonstrating individualized expertise and instead more grounded in relational practices of conversation and collaboration. My environmental geography course asks students to think about processes that are planetary in their scale, such as climate change and resource extraction. Part of the challenge is to help students grasp how their everyday experiences are shaped by our changing environment. While my students might find it hard to grasp the implications of a 1-degree rise in global temperatures, they can talk about how Hong Kong's typhoon season is getting longer each year, or how they are affected by the government's rollout of new recycling programs. When they share these experiences, they start to make connections and learn how to think with each other. As a collective, they push each other to think about environmental problems that prioritizes the needs of the most marginalized members of society.
I view a teacher as a type of coach. So one strategy for fostering student development is to have them learn by doing. And I think it's much more effective for students to participate in interactive activities, mapping different practical lessons, rather than hear me talk about the process. I try to foster a classroom environment where students feel comfortable making mistakes and they learn from them. Part of that is the type of questions that I ask. If there is sufficient ambiguity, it becomes less about getting the right answer and more about how they support the answer that they choose with research and evidence from their process, discovering tools to answer the question. How I react to student responses also makes a huge difference. I want to take the embarrassment out of a situation where students give me an answer that I don't expect and instead understand why they're answering the way that they are. I've incorporated Gen AI in my teaching, and I encourage students to engage with these technologies. It's a matter of practicality and inevitability. So many members of the public and the professional world and students are already using these tools. So I would rather have students engage with Gen AI, learn how to use it, become competent in these skills, rather than be afraid of it, because it's going to be something that they need to be able to use in the future and to be able to assess the outputs critically and skeptically if need be.
While microbiology knowledge is clinically relevant to nursing students, and is in fact crucial for safeguarding public health and preventing potential epidemics, many of our students seem to perceive it as being too abstract and uninspiring. As a teacher, my aim has always been to create a student-centered, innovative, interactive, authentic, collaborative, active learning environment to engage nursing students in class and empower their learning autonomy. So, I designed photo-forest learning activities in the microbiology class, where teams of students use a rapid ATP checker to provide a quantifiable outcome for rating the cleanliness of students' chosen sites. They were then tasked to reflect on their findings and assess them against larger contextual issues and questions before presenting them to their peers. And this process actually incorporates critical thinking, collaborations, and presentation skills, and exemplifies the pedagogical concept of student as partner. Moreover, scenario-based animated videos and 360-degree videos were developed to illustrate clinically relevant foodborne pathogens induced food poisoning and basic laboratory diagnosis procedure respectively. Students can review these e-learning results anytime and anywhere. I believe these interventions can bring positive changes to current teaching practices and enhance the pedagogical landscapes in the field.
My My goal as an educator of future healthcare professionals is to cultivate students to be competent clinicians, critical thinkers, and global leaders. So I lead by example in teaching students, emphasizing professionalism and integrity in patient care, ensuring that they have the necessary clinical skills and knowledge to deliver patient care efficiently and confidently. Vicarious learning is a valuable learning method in medicine and dentistry, and with the Vicarious Learning Dialogue videos in pediatric dentistry that I developed, students were able to learn from real treatment scenarios in which undergraduate dental students performed clinical procedures on children. In my pediatric simulation course, I implemented a flipped classroom approach that shifted the learning from a teacher didactic model to a student-centric approach, which helped empower students to think critically and make evidence-based clinical decisions. Through my experiential learning projects, like the dental surface trips to Tanzania and Togo, students not only enhanced their skills in intercultural communication and developed a deeper appreciation of global citizenship, but also came to recognize the importance of assuming greater responsibility and leadership roles as future dentists.
We all know the satisfaction of truly being engaged in active learning. I want to reinvent the classroom for students to connect theory to practice, as they would in the real world. My students are my greatest partners in teaching innovation. Together, we created HKU Med EHR, the first educational electronic health record designed in Hong Kong. This platform provides a safe and realistic learning environment where students can freely explore patient cases and practice without the fear of making mistakes. We've also replaced paper patient cases with AI-powered chatbots. This simulates real-time interactions with patients and provides an engaging way for students to collect patient information and make clinical decisions. My goal is not to train students for a test, but to nurture excellent and compassionate pharmacists for a lifelong career. I am passionate about creating authentic learning experiences that connect students with their professional identity and their intrinsic motivation to learn. Through practicums and community projects, my students mature in holistic competencies necessary for tackling complex problems in our ever-changing healthcare system.
Throughout my career, I've implemented student-centered education, contributed to curriculum redesign, and developed new teaching materials and programs. For example, I led the certificate course for Advances in Drug Allergy and Penicillin Testing, ADAPT, which included a randomized controlled study demonstrating the effectiveness of our innovative drug allergy education program. Beyond the classroom, my leadership roles and scholarly contributions to educational research have made a significant impact on clinical allergy training and practice on a global scale. I am also proud to have played a role in integrating clinical immunology and allergy into the Hong Kong U medical curriculum. As the first locally trained immunologist and allergist, I have built upon the foundation laid by my mentors who advocated for greater recognition of this emerging specialty. My teaching philosophy seeks to modernize the traditional master-apprentice approach by emphasizing holistic education and fostering a sense of belonging. I aim to inspire my students to become mentors themselves, to embrace the value of lifelong learning, and to pass on the spirit of making a difference and never giving up.
What I aim to do as a teacher is to create an educational experience that equips students with skills, motivation, and confidence. I believe students are most motivated and engaged when they can connect knowledge to their personal, academic, or professional interests. One approach I use to foster this connection is through the fish bank simulation, which immerses students in real-world decision-making scenarios, allowing them to link theoretic concepts to their own experiences. My role is to be a guide, helping students navigate their learning journey Instead of focusing on delivering content, my teaching emphasizes motivating and empowering students to uncover their own treasures of knowledge. I will continue to refine my learner-centered teaching approach to better motivate and engage students. Specifically, I aim to develop Hong Kong-based case studies to connect the course material to local contexts, making learning more relevant and impactful. Additionally, I plan to integrate service learning into my courses, offering students hands-on experiences that bridge academic knowledge with real-world challenges.
What makes art history interesting is that it is multiple fields rolled into one. It includes the study of social and historic contexts, systems of display and exchange, such as fairs, galleries, and museums, and the material practices and technologies that facilitate art making. My teaching strategy integrates the study of art history with an experiential, hands-on approach. Gamification is a way of encouraging student engagement with the abstract systems that inform and impact the art world. For example, Art Trader is an immersive simulation activity in which my students examine questions of cultural heritage and some of the ethical and legal issues that underscore collecting practices. Another activity is the Atlas Project, which considers questions of archiving and history. In this project, students build their own thematic atlas. Through this process, they engage with different hierarchies of information and ideas about how historical narratives are shaped and reshaped by the material residue of the past. Through gamification, I strive to give students a better understanding of these real-world issues before they leave the university and enter the workforce.